9 out of 10 hunters think gas piston brake barrels are relics. They are dead wrong. In 2026, 5 rifles just rewrote the rules. Zero-recoil sleds that let you mount any scope you own. Inertia-fed 10-shot magazines that index on recoil alone. A gas ram you tune with a hand pump. Variable power, 1 rifle, 0 compromises. No compressor, no fill station, no dive shop. Just break the barrel, cock it, and send lead down range. The brake barrel is not dying. It is evolving into something the PCP crowd is not ready for. These are the top 5 gas piston air rifles of 2026, and the #1 spot is going to make a lot of people rethink everything. Kicking off this list is a rifle that does something no brake barrel under $200 has ever done before. The Venturi OmniStorm runs on what Venturi calls OmniPist technology, a variable pressure gas ram that you tune yourself using an included hand pump. The interface is a standard Schrader valve, the exact same valve on your truck tires or bicycle wheels. No proprietary fill probes. No fragile adapters. Just thread on the pump, check the integrated pressure gauge, and set the internal gas strut anywhere between 16 bar and 38 bar. Now here is where the mechanic's insight gets interesting. Most gas pistons are factory sealed at a fixed internal pressure. You get 1 power level, and that is it for the life of the rifle. The OmniStorm breaks that rule entirely. At minimum pressure, this thing whispers out lead pellets at roughly 6 foot-pounds. Backyard quiet, neighbor-friendly. Dial it up to maximum 38 bar and it climbs all the way to 20.25 foot-pounds. 1 rifle, 3 times the power range. That is not a gimmick. That is physics working for you. The ballistics back it up. In 177 caliber, the OmniStorm hits 1,100 feet per second at max pressure. In 22 caliber, it pushes 850 feet per second, delivering 19.1 foot-pounds of muzzle energy for a rifle that sets you back right around $200 and ships with the OmniTuner pump, fiber optic open sights, a 4x32 scope, and mounting rings. That power per dollar ratio is almost offensive to the competition. Here is the deal breaker though, and it is a physical one. The moment you start chasing maximum power, the cocking effort punishes you for it. At low pressure, 39 pounds of force to cock, that is totally manageable. But at 38 bar, that jumps to 85 pounds, 85. And it gets worse. The trigger pull scales right along with it, climbing from 6 pounds 7 ounces all the way to 10 pounds 12 ounces at max pressure. Early production batches had documented tolerance issues that made this even heavier, triggering active factory recalls. Venturi is working the problem, but the fundamental physics are not going away. This is a tinkerer's rifle, a shooter who wants total control over ballistic output and is willing to trade ergonomic comfort for that control. But wait until you see the absolute kinetic sledgehammer sitting at #1 on this list. Stepping up the power, and here is where the engineering gets genuinely clever. Most shooters have never even considered an underlever air rifle, and that is a mistake, because the underlever geometry solves a problem that every brake barrel on this list quietly suffers from. Here is the mechanic's insight. On a traditional brake barrel, the barrel itself hinges downward to cock the gas strut, then locks back into the breech every single time. Over tens of thousands of rounds, that hinge pivot and locking detent develop microscopic wear. The result is vertical stringing. Your groups start walking up and down the target because the barrel is no longer returning to exactly the same position after every shot. The Synergis Elite eliminates this entirely by keeping the barrel completely fixed and rigid. The cocking action is handled by a separate underlever running beneath the barrel. The barrel never moves, ever. That fixed geometry means absolute concentricity between barrel and optic for the entire lifespan of the rifle. Independent testing confirms this matters. Running H&N Barracuda Match 10.65 grain pellets, the Synergis Elite averaged 819.43 feet per second, with a shot-to-shot standard deviation of just 6.22 feet per second. That consistency rivals digitally regulated PCP rifles. The TNT gas piston power plant delivers 15.88 foot-pounds, more than enough for pest control and small game at practical ranges. Loading is where it gets interesting. The rotary magazine, holding 10 rounds in .22 caliber and 12 rounds in .177, is loaded, completely outside the weapon, keeping your fingers entirely away from the compression chamber. No anti-bear trap failures, no crushed fingertips. Once inserted, the under-lever stroke automatically advances the magazine and seats the next pellet via a mechanical probe. Smooth, repeatable, safe. The Silent Care fully shrouded barrel strips expanding gases behind the pellet through internal chambers, keeping the muzzle report low and neighbor-friendly when running heavy subsonic projectiles. Cocking effort sits at a very manageable 31 pounds, the lightest cycling force on this list so far. Street price runs $182.99 for .22 caliber, making it the most accessible rifle we have covered. Now the deal breaker, and it is a financial one. That bundled 3x9x40 scope is genuinely terrible. Poor optical clarity, fragile reticles, no adjustable objective. Plan to throw it in a drawer immediately and budget for an aftermarket optic, because the Synergis Elite deserves far better glass than what ships in the box. Factor that upgrade cost in before you pull the trigger on the purchase. Now we get into the serious hunting rigs. And this one from Spain just solved the most expensive hidden problem in gas piston ownership: scope destruction. That is the hidden tax nobody talks about when they buy a Magnum brake barrel. The violent bidirectional recoil, piston surging forward, then slamming the front wall of the compression chamber, creates a whiplash effect that shatters internal erector lenses and cracks reticles inside optics designed for traditional centerfire rifles. Shooters end up cycling through 2, 3, 4 scopes before they figure out what is happening. The Norica Omnia ZRS eliminates that tax entirely, and the mechanics insight here is genuinely brilliant engineering. The ZRS zero-recoil system is a chassis within a chassis sled design. The entire internal action of the rifle, barrel, gas strut, piston, compression chamber, sits on an anodized aluminum sled mounted inside the outer, synthetic stock. When the trigger breaks and the gas piston surges forward, the internal action slides freely backward within the outer chassis. The opposing forces cancel each other dynamically. The kinetic energy transferred to the exterior stock is effectively zero. Pull the trigger on a full-power gas ram, and what you feel is a muted mechanical thud. Nothing more. The second-order effects are enormous. Because the optics rail is mounted to the recoilless exterior chassis, any scope you own, high magnification centerfire glass, budget hunting scopes, precision target optics, can be mounted without fear of internal damage. The artillery hold becomes completely obsolete. Rest this rifle tight on a pod, a sandbag, a bench rest, exactly like a PCP, and it will reward you with 1-inch groups at 50 yards using heavy projectiles like the 10.34 grain Air Arms Diablo Field. Velocities come in at 1,082 feet per second in 4.5 millimeter and 902 feet per second in 5.5 millimeter. Cocking effort holds at approximately 35 pounds. Street price runs around $350. Sound off below. If you have mounted standard firearm glass on a gas piston rifle and watched it die after 50 rounds, this rifle was built specifically for you. Drop a comment and tell me what scope you destroyed. Now the deal breaker, and it is a performance quirk that will frustrate casual shooters. The Omnia ZRS is brutally pellet selective. Feed it lightweight projectiles and it punishes you with 6-inch groupings at 50 yards. 6 inches. That is not a group, that is a pattern. The barrel demands heavy lead, 10 grain and above, to stabilize properly. Lighter pellets destabilize inside the bore and tumble downrange. Stock up on heavy Diabolo before you ever take this rifle to the field, because bargain tin pellets will make you think the rifle is broken when it is actually just hungry for proper ammunition. Entering the elite tier, and this one carries over a century of German engineering on its shoulders. The Diana Model 34 is arguably one of the most successful break-barrel air rifles ever built. Shooters have trusted it for decades. But in 2026, Diana did not just update it, they completely reinvented it with the EMS platform, Easy Modular System. And the mechanics inside here is something no other rifle on this list can claim. Every other break barrel on this list is a factory-sealed monolithic system. You shoot it as delivered, and if you want changes, you send it back to the manufacturer. The Diana 34 EMS throws that entire philosophy out the window. The rifle is designed explicitly to be disassembled, tuned, and modified by the owner using common tools. The power plant is fully convertible, ships with a traditional coiled spring if that is your preference, but engineered to accept Diana's premium NTEC gas piston with a straightforward home swap. The barrel itself features a precision locking breech block that allows complete caliber changes at home, swapping between 177 and 22 without a gunsmith. And Diana engineered an elegant solution to barrel droop, adjustable alignment, via internal precision shims, letting you true the barrel angle relative to the action for a lifetime of 0 without expensive compensating mounts. Under the shroud, the performance numbers tell a story of extraordinary mechanical efficiency. The NTEC gas piston drives 177 caliber lead pellets to 971 feet per second and lightweight alloys to 1,160 feet per second, generating 16.45 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. Here's what makes that remarkable. Achieving that output requires only 29 pounds of cocking effort. 29. That is the lowest cocking force on this entire list, despite delivering competitive muzzle energy. The internal tolerances, seal geometry, and two-piece cocking lever running on polymer-guided inlays are so precisely engineered that friction virtually disappears at the end of the stroke. The front of the barrel is threaded to a standard 1/2-inch UNF specification, machined directly into the cold hammer forged barrel. Aftermarket suppressors, muzzle brakes, tunnel sights, all thread on immediately without adapters, highly tunable and precise. The T06 two-stage adjustable trigger is the crown jewel of the ergonomic package. Widely regarded as the gold standard benchmark of sporting airgun triggers, the T06 breaks like glass and adjusts down to roughly 1 pound of pull weight with independent first-stage travel and sear engagement settings. After running the heavy stacking triggers on some of the rifles lower on this list, pulling the T06 feels like a different universe entirely. Street price runs approximately $400. Available in classic beechwood or high-density black polymer stock with a drop-down pistol grip. Overall length 45.5 inches. Weight ranging 7.4 to 7.7 pounds depending on stock configuration. Now the deal breaker, and it is an aesthetics and build concern rather than a performance flaw. The Diana 34 EMS is a precision instrument wearing a price tag that demands respect. But that $400 investment does not include a scope, and the rifle's standard 11mm dovetail rail, while functional, can experience scope creep under sustained shooting sessions without a proper stop pin mount. Budget for a quality stop pin scope mount alongside your aftermarket optic, or your Zero will walk on you during extended range sessions. Minor complaint on an otherwise magnificent platform, but a real one. The crown, and it earned every inch of it. Look, the Diana 34 EMS is a masterpiece of German precision. The Norica Omnia ZRS is a technological marvel, but neither one of them will put meat on the table as fast, as reliably, and as lethally as the rifle sitting at number 1 on this list. Because when the moment of truth arrives in the field, target moving, window closing, one shot turning into 2, precision craftsmanship means nothing if your magazine holds 1 round and your power plant cannot anchor the animal cleanly. The Gamo Swarm Magnum 10X Gen 3 I was built for exactly that moment. Here is the mechanic's insight, and it is the cleverest piece of engineering on this entire list. Multi-shot brake barrels have historically been dangerous. Early generation rotary magazines could double load if the shooter cocked the barrel without firing, forcing 2 pellets into the bore simultaneously and creating catastrophic pressure spikes. Gamo's Generation 3 inertia system solves this permanently. The 10-shot horizontal rotary magazine does not index from the mechanical cocking stroke. It indexes from the rifle's own recoil impulse. When the IGT Mach 1 gas piston fires and the bidirectional recoil kicks through the action, an internal inertia weight shifts, rotating the magazine cylinder and cueing the next projectile. 1 trigger pull equals 1 recoil impulse equals 1 magazine index. It is mechanically impossible to double load this rifle, period. The shooter keeps eyes downrange on the target, breaks the barrel, and the next round is already waiting. That is field engineering at its finest. Now stack that against the competition. The Umarex Synergis Elite at rank 4 also runs a rotary magazine, but indexes from the mechanical under-lever stroke, meaning a distracted shooter can double load or dry fire without warning. The Gen 3 I cannot. And while the Norica Omnia ZRS at rank 3 delivers beautiful recoilless precision, it feeds 1 pellet at a time from a single-shot tray. In a pest control scenario with multiple targets, that single-shot limitation costs you kills. The Gen 3i gives you 10 rounds of inertia-indexed fire before you ever reach into your pouch. The power plant behind all of this is Gamo's proprietary IGT Mach 1, paired with an oversized 33mm compression cylinder. That massive displacement volume generates approximately 24 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, the highest raw output on this entire list. Lightweight alloy pellets hit a staggering 1,300 feet per second, though supersonic projectiles destabilize past the transonic barrier. The real terminal performance unlocks with heavy lead, running 15.4 grain Gamo redfire pellets from a bench rest at 25 yards. The Gen 3i prints a single ragged hole, most shots touching. At near transonic velocity, 24 foot-pounds of kinetic energy delivers more than enough for ethical harvest of small game and resilient varmints at extended ranges. Cocking effort runs 41 pounds, heavier than the Diana's 29 and the Synergis Elite's 31. But a completely fair physical trade for the sheer terminal ballistics this power plant delivers. The CAT system, Gamo's custom action trigger, offers a clean, crisp 3-pound pull with independently adjustable first and second stages. After the punishing 10-pound trigger of the OmniStorm at max pressure, the CAT feels like a breath of fresh air. Acoustically, Whisper Fusion technology integrates a fully polymer sound moderator directly into the muzzle, stripping expanding air through internal baffles and bringing the report down to levels suitable for small acreage properties. The recoil-reducing rail, a 2-piece engineered mount separated by polymer struts, absorbs and reduces kinetic energy transferred to the optic, protecting your scope investment under the punishment of a Magnum power plant. Overall length 49.2 inches. Weight 6.88 pounds. Street price approximately $309.90. This is the apex predator of the 2026 gas piston market. The rifle that hunts hard, loads fast, hits heavy, and asks nothing of you except 41 pounds of cocking effort and a tin of quality lead pellets. The Gamo Swarm Magnum 10X Gen 3i. Number 1, undisputed. 5 rifles. 5 completely different answers to the same question. How do you build the perfect self-contained hunting machine in 2026? And the Gamo Swarm Magnum 10X Gen 3i proved that when the target is moving and the window is closing, nothing on this list sends lead downrange faster, harder, or more reliably. If this list saved you from a bad purchase or put a rifle on your radar you had never considered, hit that subscribe button right now. Every week this channel delivers the raw truth about air guns without the marketing fluff and without the sponsored bias. No tanks, no compressors, no excuses. Keep your air tanks full and I will see you downrange.